Hello all and welcome to the first edition of Smark Attack Podcast. This will be a WrestleMania 31 review. Great show. Just gonna throw that one out there. I'm that Chris Benoit guy. This is Saiyan Gamers, and we're here to review WrestleMania 31 and other pay-per-views whenever we decide to upload them. Alright, so let's kick this off with the pre-show. Cesaro and Tyson Kidd beat Los Matadores, the Usos, and the New Day to retain the tag team titles. I think it was a pretty good match. It was a spot fest for the first match. I mean, so many good spots in that match. Jey Uso getting injured and Jimmy having to do the match on his own was a good. I think it was pretty good because I'm not a big fan of the Usos. Nothing really much about this match. I don't think it was that. It was alright. I'm happy Cesaro and Kidd won. I would have loved the New Day to win because I'm the only one who seems to actually still like the New Day. Your input, saying?
I personally think that the fact that Cesaro and Kidd won was pretty impressive on their part, but I think that the whole Uso concept was kind of more impressive because of how Jimmy held his own. It actually looked like he could have pulled that off on his own without his brother with him, and that would have been very too impressive. So for that matter of them not wanting to make the Usos too OP, that's probably why they made Cesaro and Kidd, because I could see the Usos getting them back if the other Usos in. So I liked the match. It was pretty good. And no, I did not like the New Day. I personally love the Usos, and I would love to see them as champions again.
I gave the match a 2 out of 5 or 2.5 out of 5. Yeah, it wasn't anything special. Now, wait, what?
For a kickoff match, I'd give it a 3 out of 5. But let's say it was in the main card, then I would probably give it a 2.
I would say, yeah, that's actually pretty good. Now that onto the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. I think it was stupid as fuck that they had the Big Show win it, because the Big Show, what honestly has the Big Show done? I was kind of mad that they threw Axel out so early in the match.
That was hilarious.
It was funny, but I thought they would have put him over because of the Royal Rumble. Of course I was mad that they threw Mizdow out at the end. There was nothing special. Of course it was a fucking mid-card filled match.
Great Mizdow build if he would have gotten the Big Show out. If he got the Big Show out, that would have been a very great Mizdow build, but they still gave him a good build by the way he turned on the Miz and took out the Miz.
And the fact that Mizdow went for the Big Show the same way that Chris Benoit did in 2004 was pretty funny, with the front face lock over the rope.
So that's a great Mizdow Great Mizdow build. I like the build for Mizdow so far.
I hope they build Mizdow up a bit more. Even with a little mid-card title, they need to build Mizdow up. I gave it a 2 out of 5. I didn't give a fuck about the match.
Nah, I didn't. Yeah, I give that a 1 just because of the victory.
Just because of the Big Show, yeah. And now on to the main card with the matches that actually matter. Daniel Bryan defeating Bad News Barrett, the champion, Dean Ambrose, Dolph Ziggler, Luke Harper, R-Truth, and Stardust in the ladder match to win the Intercontinental title. Great match, great wrestling, great spots. Good choice of winner, too, because Daniel Bryan did come off of an injury where he had to give up his title from last year, the title that the fans basically gave him, honestly, because everybody knew Daniel Bryan was not supposed to be in that match last year. Gave the IC title a lot more prestige, too, because, face it, the IC title and the US title have been so fucking underused in the past, 4 years. It's not even funny. It's like they're not even titles anymore. They were never defended. They're finally getting more air. I mean, Bad News Barrett to Daniel Bryan, both pretty big guys, now holding a once prestigious title held by the likes of Booker T, Chris Benoit, Ric Flair, Triple H.
And the fact that the titles are so underlooked at is really disrespecting those superstars.
Very, very much. I mean, when Dean Ambrose had the United States title back in 2013. He was barely defending that title. Why do you think he held the title for so long? He held the title for almost a year until Sheamus won it for some reason. Sheamus, the one I like to call Irish Cena. I'm not a Sheamus fan either. But Luke Harper powerbombing Dean Ambrose through the ladder was reminiscent of WrestleMania 24 when Mr. Kennedy, I think it was Mr. Kennedy and Carlito, flipped Shelton Benjamin off of the ladder, and Shelton Benjamin front flipped into the other ladder and broke it. And I thought that was pretty cool that they were actually like doing old spots from old WrestleManias, and this WrestleMania was pretty good with that. I gave that match a 3 out of 5 because I really enjoyed the match a lot.
I'll give it a 4.5.
4.5, and that's a first match. That's a curtain jerking match. Next, Randy Orton defeats Seth Rollins. It was great wrestling, honestly. By the way, that's saying playing 2K15 if you hear the buttons. But they did great wrestling. They had great spots. The whole curb stop to the RKO, of course, that was the best spot of the match. They worked really well together. And I had a feeling Seth was going to lose because of, what was to come later that night. But I gave that match a 3 out of 5 for the great wrestling and the great ability shown by both competitors and Randy Orton getting back up there since he's been injured. Your input?
I mean, not really much to say about that match. I mean, I did like it, and I enjoyed it a lot. And that RKO was really amazing.
It was one of the best RKO spots
But
I've done in a
not
while.
really much to say about that match.
Next, Triple H versus Sting. Oh my god, everything about this match was great. The entrances were great. Triple H with the Terminator and Sting with the Japanese Kodo drummers. They worked really well together. It was very unpredictable. Nobody expected Triple H to go over. I didn't expect Triple H to go over. Everybody, and don't lie, everybody expected Sting to go over, and he didn't. NWO versus DX, oh my god, that was great. And when DX came out without Shawn, I was pretty skeptical at first. And then when Sting put Triple H in the Scorpion Deathlock and turned around, saw Shawn Michaels waiting for him to give him a super kick. I was the first time I've honestly marked out in a long time. The bat breaking the sledgehammer also was amazing because Sting just really exceeded my expectations. What else? The whole Monday Night War, 14 years. 14 years after the fact, a little late, but still, oh my god, just an amazing feel of nostalgia. I marked out when the NWO came out. DX, I wasn't expecting to come out, but I didn't mark out as much because I saw DX come out. I'm like, you know what, they're going to have NWO come out. Then I thought for a minute, Sting and the NWO hated each other. But I figured they had to bring the WCW faction out to fight the WWE faction, and it just went together so well. And when Triple H hit him with that broken piece of the sledgehammer, I was astounded by the whole match. I gave it a 4 out of 5 because it was a great match.
Honestly, the whole thing with Triple H winning was unpredictable, and I was really excited when I heard the NWO music, and I actually saw Sting getting ready. Like, he was looking at the NWO, not sure what they were coming for. Were they coming for WCW or were they coming to attack Sting? Because again, the NWO hated Sting, so I was like, so are they coming to help Sting or are they coming to attack Sting, or is this about the Monday Night War? Is this about WCW and WWE? So I wasn't really sure what the NWO was gonna do. And when I saw that they started helping Sting, I'm like, oh, alright, so that's NWO working for WCW, and they're putting their differences aside with Sting, and I was really excited about that. And then I saw Shawn Michaels again. Honestly, Shawn Michaels, I respect his retirement, but it would have been nice to see him stay to go against people like Dolph Ziggler and Daniel Bryan and the newer fractions.
See, my problem with that is that I don't know if Shawn Michaels will be able to compete with the likes of Dolph Ziggler anymore. Because Dolph Ziggler can fucking move like nobody's business. Dolph Ziggler is one of the most talented guys. So is Daniel Bryan. They can move. Shawn Michaels, he's getting old, but he was moving pretty well out there, even though he only did one move. Like, he, at 40, however many years old, he fucking lifted his leg up like it was nothing. Like, he never stepped out of the ring. I respect Shawn Michaels so much.
At 40, yeah, but you see the Undertaker, he was 50, and you saw how he was moving. He was moving pretty well, so I could see Shawn Michaels going against the likes of Dolph Ziggler or Daniel Bryan. I would actually like to see one of those matches.
And I feel like the only reason that Shawn Michaels retired is because his history with back injury. I mean, he was out for 4 years with a fucked up back. And even when he came back then, he had not missed a beat. He was amazing in that match with Triple H at SummerSlam of 2002. And he was, even though you didn't see much of him, he was pretty good in this match. So I gave that a 4 out of 5. Now AJ Lee and Paige beating the Bellas. I didn't give a fuck about this match. I don't care about the Divas division anymore. I haven't cared about the Divas division thoroughly since probably 2007. I mean, AJ Lee, Paige, Natalya, and Naomi. Even, I only care a little bit about Naomi. They're the only ones I really care about because they have some talent. And the fact that AJ Lee is retired now really just took my mind off of the Divas division even more. So, that match I didn't give a fuck about. Nothing special happened. AJ Lee and Paige won. 2 out of 5. What are you going to do? I don't care. John Cena versus Rusev. Now, before I get into this, I'm going to say I'm very anti-Cena. He's pro-Cena. We've gone through our arguments, but we both see why each other hates or loves Cena. And before I talk about this match, Rusev's entrance was fucking amazing. The tanks, the Russian anthem, the fact that Rusev came out on a tank. That was just great. It was too predictable. Everybody knew Cena was going to win. After Cena lost at Fastlane, everybody knew Cena was going to win at WrestleMania and defeat Rusev's undefeated streak. John Cena hitting a springboard stunner on Rusev really surprised me because Cena, you know, he's known for his 5 moves of doom. So, that was really just out of the deep end for Cena. They worked oddly well together, I have to say. I originally gave this match 2 out of 5, but now I'm considering bumping it up to a 3 just because of how well they worked together. And I did like how Lana was the reason Rusev lost. So Rusev can say, you know, he was distracted, you know, so he could still kind of look strong. Because, face it, Rusev is one of the most dominating forces of today. Even though he just came out of NXT, he was undefeated for a year. He competed in the fucking Royal Rumble last year, and he actually got pretty far. I think he eliminated, 4 people or some shit like that? Rusev is, as Lana says, he's a fucking super athlete. There's nothing else I could say. Sayin, do you have an input on this match?
I mean, yeah, I do love Cena, and I am All America. But Rusev, it's just like Cena says. Cena gives respect to Rusev. He respects Rusev. He's said it himself. Rusev is an unstoppable super athlete. He said it before himself, and that's what you gotta respect about Cena. He respects his opponents, and he doesn't put them down. If his opponents are strong, he's gonna say his opponents are strong. If they're undefeated, he's not gonna say they're weak. He's gonna say the truth, no matter if it's his opponent or his teammate. And that's what I really like about Cena, along with a lot of other stuff. But yes, I do respect Rusev. And I do like Rusev. And the whole Lana thing, I see where everyone could be coming from. But then again, you got to look at Fastlane, where Cena was about to win. You could see Cena was going to win that until the disqualification. And that's how it's supposed to go. But if you want to say Rusev was distracted, people can go on and say, well, look at Fastlane. Rusev won by disqualification.
Rusev won at Fastlane because Cena passed out to the Accolade. He didn't tap out, but he won by submission because he passed out.
Yeah, after the nut hit that the ref didn't see. So, no, it wasn't disqualification, my mistake. But after the nut hit, come on, who's going to get up from that? If you're a man and you get hit down there, you're not gonna get up from that.
If you're a woman and you get hit down there, you're not getting up from that. Either way, they performed very well together. 3 out of 5. I honestly think that was one of the best matches Cena's worked in a long time. So I really commend him for that. Next is The Undertaker versus Bray Wyatt. Holy shit, Undertaker looked miles better than he did last year. I consider it 23-0. It's 22-1. I still fucking hate the outcome of last year's WrestleMania. Bray Wyatt did not, or Brock Lesnar did not deserve to be The Undertaker, no matter what. It was an underwhelming match, but what are you going to do? Undertaker's 50 years old now. 50. And people are expecting him to fight one more match next year. So, I don't know. Maybe 2 years or so can be that 25th win, or the 25th match. 25-0, 24-1, whatever. Wyatt being intimidated was really, 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 really awesome, because it shows that the new face of fear can be intimidated by the old face of fear. The old face of fear wasn't done yet. He was still back for more, and boy did he get more. That match was great. They told a great story with the whole face of fear thing, and again, Bray Wyatt being intimidated really upped the ante of that match. 3.5 out of 5, even though the match was very underwhelming. Maybe a 3 out of 5, between 3 and 3.5, just because of the underwhelmingness of the match. But, hey, what are you going to do? It was a great match. Say it?
I honestly can't really say anything about this match because I fell asleep on it. But I did see how The Undertaker worked, and he did do pretty good. He made a comeback. Everybody is saying, well, how's The Undertaker gonna do? Is he still the face of fear? Is he still the dead man? Is he still The Undertaker? Or is he just some normal mortal now? And no, we see that he is not a normal mortal. And Brock Lesnar, after he beat The Undertaker, they really built him too much. He goes on to destroy John Cena, suplexing him out of the SummerSlam main event. Then he goes on to just dominate everyone in his path. And at the Royal Rumble, I honestly wanted to see John Cena win. I wouldn't have been mad to see Seth win. I just wanted to see Brock lose because he's really OP. He came back with a broken rib and won. And
this is what I was getting at before by saying they fucking overdo the MMA people. Brock Lesnar had no fucking business with that title that long if he knew he wasn't going to be at the events. But no, he was in UFC and won a few fucking fights, and now all of a sudden he's like God. Like, he won 4 fucking fights in the UFC. He tapped out to a fucking knee bar. Come on, that's shit he should be, like, so familiar with, since he's a fucking wrestler. He wasn't that good, honestly. He lost his first fight, he won his second fight, and then he got his title fight. He breezed his way through the UFC. Lesnar's not that good of a fighter. He's a great wrestler, but he's nowhere near where he was in 2002. Like, he's just not the same guy. Anyways, that really can tie into the next match because it's the main event, Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns. Holy shit, it was a great match. I mean, Brock Lesnar went on to basically do what he did to John Cena to Roman Reigns. Just like SummerSlam all over again. Suplex City, Suplex City, Suplex City, bitch. Over and over and over. But it kept the crowd on the edge of their seats. And it was just like SummerSlam. You know why? Because every little bit of time, Cena would get back up, hit a couple moves on Lesnar, then Lesnar would go right back to dismantling him. And that's exactly what Roman Reigns did at WrestleMania, excuse me. It kept the crowd on the edge of their seats. I was actually expecting Roman to come back when he hit those few Superman punches. And as soon as he tried to come back, who came out? Seth Rollins. And they couldn't have ended this pay-per-view any better than to have Seth Rollins cash in his Money in the Bank and win the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. And another good thing is, to keep Lesnar looking strong, he was not the one pinned. Roman Reigns was. Even though Lesnar did get curb stomped, Roman Reigns got curb stomped and was pinned. And Rollins being the heel he is, ran to the fucking top of the stage with the title, and he basically weaseled his way towards the title, and I like it, because, face it, what else was he going to do with that Money in the Bank? And, I mean, WWE must have seen something in him to give him the Money in the Bank in the first place. I gave that match a 4 out of 5, because Seth being good heel, them keeping Brock looking strong, and them keeping Roman, and then making Roman Reigns realize that, you know, it's not as easy as he thought it would be. He was saying he can and he will. Well, let's just say he saw a whole another thing when he got to WrestleMania. And I couldn't think of a better way to end the show. What do you got to say about that?
Honestly, I'm not happy at all with Seth Rollins winning because I don't see him deserving it. He was not considered the best by most people of the Shield. He goes on to turn on the Shield, the most dominant factor of the WWE, who beat Evolution. And he goes on to the Authority to just hide behind the Authority all the time. He doesn't do anything by himself. He always has to use J&J Security, Kane, or Big Show. Might I add, he didn't get that opportunity or that win for the WWE title on his own. Kane gave him the Money in the Bank, because if it wasn't for Kane, Dean Ambrose would have it. So right there, he doesn't deserve the title because he didn't deserve the Money in the Bank, which got him the title. And Roman Reigns, he was coming. I don't like how people are not acknowledging Roman Reigns, like Paul Heyman. He's just saying Brock Lesnar destroyed a Samoan badass. Well, Brock Lesnar wasn't looking too well. I saw a few scars on his face and some stitches in his head from what Roman Reigns did to him. So people should really acknowledge what Roman Reigns did, like him or not. He gave it to Brock. Brock put it to Reigns. I'm gonna admit he did suplex him out of the main event mostly.
10 times. 10 fucking times.
Yeah, but Roman Reigns did take it back to Brock. You can't say he didn't. You gotta respect Roman Reigns for that.
I'm sorry, but the blood on Brock's face was the result of a botch. In my opinion, I saw it as a botch. Because I know how Vince is about blood. He fucking hates the stuff now. Like, nobody's allowed to have color. They get fucking fined. And Brock Lesnar, or Roman Reigns, I think botched on Brock Lesnar. I don't think he was supposed to hit the ring post that hard. Because Lesnar was fucking covered. And whatever happened, Brock Lesnar put on a great match. So did Reigns. I'm surprised Lesnar was that careful with Reigns, and Reigns didn't come out with a fucking concussion like Undertaker did last year.
What I liked from Paul Heyman was Brock Lesnar respects no one, and he said Roman Reigns almost gained Brock Lesnar's respect. That's where you have to respect Roman Reigns. That's where you have to see. That's basically Paul Heyman admitting people are looking at it like that, but that's Paul Heyman admitting that Roman Reigns did take it to Brock Lesnar by saying that he almost gained his respect when no one has even almost gained the respect, yet gained it. Saying that he's almost gained the respect of the Beast Incarnate, that's saying that Roman Reigns brought it and took it to Brock Lesnar. And I believe he would have won if Seth Rollins didn't come out, because those Superman punch had Brock Lesnar stunned, those spears, everything. He was close. He was close to winning it when Seth Rollins came out. Roman Reigns, he was ready. He was ready for it. Seth Rollins won it, but Roman Reigns did not give up. The only reason Roman Reigns did lose was honestly the spear that he did when Brock Lesnar had Seth Rollins up for the F5. Roman Reigns was gonna pin Brock Lesnar, and Brock Lesnar rolled out of the ring. It would have been over right there.
And then he got that curb stop from Seth Rollins.
He was distracted from trying to grab onto Brock Lesnar. Roman Reigns was too close. He was way too close to winning.
What is the fight at Extreme Rules? Seth Rollins versus who?
It's gonna be Seth Rollins versus No, there wasn't a confirmed Extreme Rules fight.
Not yet.
No, we were predicting it. It's either gonna be Brock Lesnar's gonna come back from suspension, and then it's gonna be
I think it's gonna be Roman Reigns just because of how close he was, and Lesnar's gonna come down and interfere, and Seth's gonna end up winning. Honestly, that's how I think it's gonna go down, just because that's how Brock Lesnar seems to work.
Roman Reigns is gonna get the title soon. He's right around the corner from getting the title. That's all I'm gonna say about it.
Because I know for a fact that Roman Reigns is not out of the title picture. And I know for a fact that John Cena is out of the title picture because he has the US title. And again, going back to that match, it brings the US title more prestige. Like I said with the Intercontinental title, it's bringing it more prestige, and I like it. All together, the show was a great show. The stage was pretty lackluster. I expected something a bit bigger, but what are you gonna do? And it was too bright for the dark entrances. Undertaker came out in broad daylight. Sting in broad daylight. Bray Wyatt in broad daylight. They couldn't plan that a little better, but the crowd was good too. And the thing I didn't get is that the crowd was pro-US, but anti-Cena. So they basically wanted Cena to lose and still somehow bring the US its glory by defeating Rusev. I don't know. All in all, I give WrestleMania 4 out of 5. There were the few flaws in WWE's creative that didn't give it the 4.5 of the 5. It's honestly the best WrestleMania in a long time. I think it was the best WrestleMania since 24. Or maybe 25. I really underestimated this WrestleMania, and I feel like shit that I did because this was such a good Mania that honestly I got to mark out, and that was the best thing that could have happened. And I don't mark out for anything. What do you got to say about the show?
The show was overall good. Most of the matches I was proud of. My wins that I liked would be the Bryan winning, Reigns so close to winning, even though he didn't. I do like the fact that he was so close to winning, and that kept him in the title picture. The fact that he was close to winning. Cena beating Rusev, of course, was my favorite win. Orton beating Rollins was a good win. The Bella Twins, they are my favorite divas. I like the Bella Twins. So the Bella Twins beating AJ and Paige was a good win. So mostly I had all good wins out of the show.
The Bella Twins, honestly, I see them there as eye candy. I can't see them there as anything else. But Nikki Bella, I have to admit, has been improving. So has Brie, because they were, honestly, when they started, they were just eye candy and only eye candy. And at the time, I was like maybe 12 or 13 when they came up, so I was like, oh yeah, the Bella Twins rule. But now that I'm a bigger wrestling fan, and I like the wrestling aspect more, I just can't like them anymore. Like Kelly or Eve Torres, they were all eye candy, they were all pretty, but they were pretty shitty wrestlers as I remember. And like, my Divas division that I grew up with was, I'm 17 going on 18 now. I grew up with the Trish Stratuses, the Litas, the Sables.
Speaking of Lita, something people aren't talking about is in the kickoff, we actually heard about a Lita return possibly happening. And
Lita and Trish versus the Bellas, and I think that'd be an amazing match, even though...
Yeah, we actually heard of something about that. Lita was talking about maybe Lita and Trish Stratus will return to go against the Bellas.
Even though Trish Stratus and Lita would run a train on the Bellas, because Lita and I know what run a train means, I just couldn't think of anything else to use. Lita and Trish, oh my god, hands down, best divas of all time, except maybe Moolah. And Lita and Trish had an amazing rivalry, and now they're best fucking friends. They will work together so well. And the Bella Twins, if that match does happen and the Bella Twins come out with a win, I'll stop watching WWE for a long time, because we all know that Trish and Lita busted their asses. Lita and Trish was the first ever Diva main event on Raw. And holy shit, it was a great match. It was for the Women's Championship. I hate to be the fan who forgets who won, but I actually forgot who won that match. I believe it was Lita. But
I think it was Lita.
I think it was Lita too.
Because Lita did have the women's title for a good while.
I think that was the match where Lita jumped out the ring and nearly broke her neck too. great match. You know, Team Bella versus Team Besties. I really hope it does happen. Well, that's all the time we have right now. This has been Smark Attack Podcast with that Chris Benoit guy and Saiyan Gamer Z, and we will be back. Definitely will be back for another pay-per-view review, most likely, maybe a match review. But in the meantime, why don't you hit the like button and subscribe and tell your friends? I mean, we're new. That's alright. We're going to get better. I mean, what are we at? 30 minutes now? And this is our first video. I really hope that we can get bigger and, you know, cater to you fans a little bit more, because we're here for the fans and we're here for our love of professional wrestling and possibly MMA if I can get my other friend to join. Well, this has been Smark Attack Podcast, and see you next time. Peace.